Hey you guys, and thank you for tuning in to another video with the Fat Gay. My name's Isaac, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about some tips for Orangetheory Fitness members, specifically those that are on the fluffier side. So in one of my previous videos, I did some tips for beginners in Orangetheory Fitness. However, in watching other people's videos that are specific to how to survive starting or beginning a journey with Orangetheory, I kind of realized that there's a little bit of a gap between a normal person starting their fitness journey at a new gym versus somebody who is on the heavier side. And a lot of times with things like gym intimidation, people being really nervous about starting a new program, especially when you're on the heavier side, I'm going to share some of the things that I've started doing to really help me overcome some of the boundaries that I had at the weight that I started at, and even the weight that I'm at right now when I started Orangetheory. So I've broken this up into the three sections. So the three main sections in the gym, or especially Orangetheory, is going to be your tread section, the rower, and then you have the weight floor. So typically the way that people think about this is they think that, you know, you have two sections that you can start on. You can get a rower card or you can get a tread card. But ultimately, depending on the type of workout that you have, if you're starting on the rowers, typically you're starting on the weight floor. Now there are sections where you're working in the weight floor, but you're alternating between the weight floor and the rowers. And we'll talk about that in a moment. But I think what's really important is for us to kind of first understand what some of the challenges are for a heavier person in this workout program, and then kind of attacking things that you can do to avoid that being something that prevents you from working out. Now, I can tell you specifically that I'm going to give you some tips of things that I did not do when I first started and that have become a barrier or an obstacle for me because I didn't make tips because nobody had a video like this one for people like me. Okay, I'm just saying, we need to get it up, okay? Alright, fluffy people on YouTube, we need to get better about creating content specific for fluffy people, especially fluffy people that are on a journey to lose weight, and not just, hey, I've already lost the weight, I'm gonna give you tips. And it's not just about nutrition. It can be about things that are obstacles for us in the workout, but tangent over, okay? Tangent's over, just saying. Number one. So when we're talking about the tread section, one of the most important things for us to remember is that this is a great opportunity for us to get our heart rates elevated and for us to get into the orange zone and even the red zone. However, there are some things that we can get stuck on that can prevent us from making this a workout that's going to be efficient. Now, myself included, because I made a big mistake, which is not listening to my coaches because I'm Cuban and a little hard-headed, and I've shot myself in the foot because now I'm struggling. I have to kind of work backwards because I did something that they really recommend not doing, and that is holding on to the rails. So there's a couple things that go into place, and I don't know if this is just because I have poor balance and I'm a fluffy person or because I'm just a fluffy person. But when I'm on the treads, I feel like I really struggle to walk in a straight line. So much so that I'm kind of doing like one of these numbers, and not in a cute way, throwing it out there. And my biggest fear, and I've said this before, is falling off the treads. I do not want to be the gordito who, you know, goes too fast and goes like off the treadmill. Not me, because there's glass behind me. I don't want to be the person that goes through somebody on the rower and then shatters the glass. I don't want to be that person. I don't. Okay, so I'm like holding on to dear life, especially when you're a power walker. As a power walker, you know that one of the things that you have to do is walk on inclines, because we have to offset the fact that we're not walking or running or jogging at a speed that the other two groups are. They are obviously going to get their heart rates elevated. So the way that Orangetheory offsets that for people who are A, just starting, or are on a heavier weight, okay? And that's going to be by getting those inclines up so that they can get their heart rate elevated. So why does this matter? Well, one, when you pump your arms while you're walking, I'm gonna do my little arm pump in action. Okay. When you're pumping those arms, you are helping more mobility, you're getting yourself, you're counteracting balance, and these are just things that I'm regurgitating that my coaches say. I don't understand half these things. But what I do know is in the last couple classes where I have brought down my speed, okay, because of the fact that now I need to retrain myself to walk at higher speeds on the treads while also moving my arms and not clutching onto the rails, I've noticed that it's easier for me to get into the orange and red zones when I'm moving my arms. So what happened? This is what really was where I messed up. I started from the very beginning holding onto the rails and I got accustomed to it. So when I first started Orangetheory, I was like at a 2.5 to a 2.8, and I talked about this in one of my most recent videos. And I had just gotten to the place where I was able to complete an entire tread block at a 3.5 to a 4. Now, one of the coaches had to have a heart-to-heart with me recently and was like, hey, you're holding onto the rails and that is not going to help you. You're hurting yourself, one, because if you let go and you slip, you're gonna fall off the tread. Two, you're not getting your heart rate as elevated as you could, and you are essentially working harder. And by pumping your arms, you are able to walk faster and counteract that balance and get your heart going. Now I realize I'm like throwing out terms that I may be using incorrectly, but whatever, y'all know I ain't no doctor or a coach or any kind of fitness person thing. I'm just telling you what this gordito is going through. So I made this mistake. I've had to kind of work through it. And what's the problem? Now I had to bring my speeds back down to like a 3.0 to 3.5, which is still better than where I started. But now I'm having to learn how to really walk, especially in those inclines, while pumping my arms and not grabbing onto the rails. And that is something that is very frustrating, especially when I know that I've done speeds that I had really worked hard to get towards, and now I'm having to kind of work backwards to correct the mistake that I made because I did not want to listen. And it's stupid because we're paying a substantial amount of money to have coaches with us while we're working out, and the least we can do is not be stupid and listen to them. But I'm just saying. Next thing's kind of simple. You would think that it's something that's like, duh, makes sense, right? Because we have that one. Not today. We're not doing this today. And this may sound simple because you have that 5-minute warm-up. We all know that if we don't get into class before the 5-minute window, we're not able to join because that's our warm-up. But let's not confuse a warm-up with a stretching or an opportunity for us to kind of work out that stiffness. So for the first couple of weeks that I was going to Orangetheory, I was not stretching prior to my workout. So I was going from sitting all day to now jumping onto the treads or the rower or the weight floor and really working out hard. And I hadn't stretched my body, and my calves were killing me. My lower back was killing me. And that actually made my plantar fasciitis or fasciitis. I don't know how to say it. Will somebody tell me how to, send me a voice clip of saying that word that I don't know how to say it. I don't know how to say it. Plantar fasciitis, my English is not very good looking, you get the point. So it was actually making it worse. And my massage therapist was telling me that because I wasn't stretching, my calf muscles were getting really tight, and that was causing more stress on my heel, which eventually was causing more issues with my plantar fasciitis. So if you're not, and you want to avoid having this pain, especially if you are a fluffier person, then I'm gonna highly recommend that you get into the habit of doing really good stretches, especially with your calves and your hamstrings and your glutes prior to jumping on the treadmill, because that's gonna help you be successful and avoid some pains that we really don't want. Let's be real. Okay, moving on to the rowers. So the rowers, unfortunately, I wish that there were more tips that I could give you to help you be more successful in the rowers, or like some gordito or gordita or gordix hacks. Unfortunately, there aren't any. The rowers is just something that you have to get into a flow with, you have to learn to get comfortable with, and yes, it is difficult for people, especially when you carry a lot of weight in your midsection, which I talked about. That's something that I struggle with. But here are some tips that I can really give you and tell you to help you be successful. Ready? Super simple. Adjust your straps and the little plate thing with the little thing in it. I don't know what that's called, the little bracket where your foot rests or your shoe. Adjust those before you sit down. Also make adjustments. So I'm a short person and I have a heavy midsection, so I usually have to count like 6 dots and move the things up or down. I don't really know what they're called. We're calling them bracket foot placement things. That's what I'm gonna call them, bracket foot placement things. Move them up. You want that to be in the widest part of your foot, not in the center, not at the top. You don't want your feet slipping out, especially once you've already sat down, because once you sat down, like me, if you carry a lot of weight in your midsection, that's a little bit of a barrier for you to reach down and get to those brackets and adjust the straps. So adjust your straps, make your foot placement the way you need it. You'll learn what's working better for you, and make those adjustments before you sit down. Once you sit down, you've got your feet into the brackets, you're gonna lean forward, pull both straps at the right amount at the same time, pull them, right? But you also wanna make sure that your feet are not going outward. So this is something that I was struggling with because, again, my knees have to spread a little bit when I'm doing these workouts because of the fact that I'm making room for my stomach. So you wanna make sure that you're forcing your feet to be in the right direction and then tightening and get them again. You want them super tight. And the reason why is if you go ahead and you start rowing and your feet are going at this angle, they're gonna be easier for them to slide out of the brackets. Which when you're sweating and you're in the red or you're in the orange or you're just out of breath and tired and wanna go home and watch TV, that's the last thing you want to deal with, especially when you're on a 2 or 3 minute section. Like I said, get to the rower, make your adjustments, adjust your straps, get them nice and loose so you're not trying to get them into a tight section with all your gordito-ness or gordita-ness or gordix-ness, okay, in the way. You're gonna make your adjustments, you're gonna sit down, you're gonna put your feet in, get them nice and straight, make them really tight, and then start rowing. Another thing, and this I learned from Journey, who is one of our coaches in our gym, and I love her dearly, but that is going to be when you are pulling back on the rower, instead of just immediately lunging forward, kind of sit there for a minute. And when you do that, you let the water in the rowing tank kind of keep going and get you more meters so that you're not reaching forward and pulling and losing the momentum that you would have had. Let that spin a little bit before you start pulling again. I'm talking about things that, you know, make sense in my head, but it could sound a little rambly. So if you know, you know. If you don't know, well, you don't know. But for those of you that know, you know. Okay? Okay. And last, but most certainly not least, is going to be the weight floor. So really, honestly, the weight floor, it's just, it's gonna take time, honestly. There's a couple of things that really annoy me and that make things a little difficult, and that's gonna be the mini bands. We're just gonna say it. I don't like the mini bands. Don't like them. To me, I call them like the lasso of truth from like Wonder Woman, because when I put them around my legs, they roll up into this thin like dental floss like structure that, I swear to God, like cuts circulation to my legs. So one day I was complaining about this to one of my friends in the gym at the end of one of our workouts, and one of the coaches was like, hey, if you know that's an issue, go on Reddit, check out when the days we're gonna have the mini bands, and wear those legging things under, because the reason that they're rolling, specifically when you have larger thighs, so they're already like stretched out because you have big thighs as a bigger person, is the sweat. So the sweat on your legs causes them to slip and roll up into those thin lines. So when you wear the leggings, that helps kind of keep the sweat out of the picture, easier for you to put on, so it's not pulling on your leg hair, men or women, because let's be honest, you don't need to shave if you don't want to, but you know, that's a conversation for a different channel on a different day. I don't have a different channel, but if I did, that would be a conversation that I would have. I digress. Moving on. Put on those leggings, it'll help the mini bands from Satan from rolling up and causing you issues. So I don't know about you guys. I don't know if this is because I'm gordito, or it's because I get hot, or because my blood is pumping, or if it's just because this is how I am. I sweat. When I leave the gym, my shirt is drenched, my hair is soaked. It's one of the reasons that I cut my hair all off. It just like, I'm soaking wet. Get workout gloves, especially when you're on the mats or when you're doing planks. You don't want your hands slipping off, and when you have those gloves, that really helps you, and it helps kind of prevent a little bit of friction between the mat that you're on, or if you're on the floor, and your palms with the layer of sweat that you have in between them. So I would highly suggest that. Another thing is to know what parts of your body are weaker than others. So a lot of times, and I noticed this in myself, is that I was working on the 15-pound weights or the dumbbells, right? But there are certain workouts that are easier for me than others because I have either I don't know if I'm stronger in those sections or if I utilize those muscles more regularly. But I have to realize that just because 15 is where I'm comfortable at right now for some workouts and I feel like I'm struggling, there are some workouts where I need to pick up a 20 or a 25 because I feel like they're too easy for me. But the same goes for other types of workouts. If you know that those workouts are harder for you and you have not gotten your muscle resistance, or you haven't gotten to a place where you feel like you are, I don't really know how to say this, but like if you feel like it's too hard and you're making it harder for yourself, then pick up a lower weight if you're not built up to where you need to be. And then as you get more comfortable and as you get stronger, then you can go back up to the weight that you were working. So long story short is that just because you're comfortable with the 15-pound weights and you still feel like you're getting a good workout, there might be different exercises that are gonna cause or prompt you to pick up a different dumbbell or a different weight or a different ball thing that's heavy. I don't know. You kind of work those out depending on those exercises to make sure that you are being successful and you're getting a good workout in. And the last thing I'm going to tell you is that those little bench things, I don't know what those are called. Learn how to elevate the back. So for me right now, I hate to say it, I really do. I'm sorry to that bench, okay? But I can't do a full setup yet, especially while I'm elevated off the ground. I had to have a coach show me how to lift that bench up and put it back down, because I realized that there were workouts that I wasn't doing correctly, even with a modification, because of the fact that I was embarrassed to ask a coach every time to come and make that adjustment for me. So I had to learn how to work the dang thing. Learn how to adjust your bench, making sure that you're getting a workout and you're not allowing something that you're just not comfortable with to be an issue or an obstacle for you when you're trying to get these workouts done. And my very favorite tip, and this is gonna go for the weight floor, the rower, the tread section, is get to know the stations that you're comfortable at. I hate feeling like I'm getting in everybody's way when I'm doing a workout. So something that I've learned is to pick sections. So I have like an option 1, 2, 3, and 4 of the places that I want to work out in, so that I'm not feeling like I'm squeezing in between people or I'm bumping into people when I'm getting on and off the rower. So my gym is probably one of the smaller gyms. No hate on the Altamont location. I love you guys, you're great. But we do have a small gym, especially a small weight floor. So I like stations 12, 1 if I have to. Okay, those are my top 2 choices. Section 3, because it's in a corner and there's also like this empty station that doesn't have a number on it where you can kind of get a little bit of extra space. And 9 and 10. So 9 and 10 and 3 and 4 are both located in a corner of the gym. So you have a little bit more extra room and there's not somebody that's directly next to you. 12, obviously there is no section in my gym next to me. So it's 12 and then space. Okay, and 1, same thing. I try to avoid 1 if I can get 12, because 1, also I don't like to be in the very front because the coaches see you, especially when you're taking breaks that you're not supposed to, but whatever. And 1 also has the water station next to it, so people are coming constantly to that section and you kind of feel like sometimes you can get a little bit interrupted because you're utilizing space that technically isn't part of your station. But you know, you do what you gotta do to get your workout done. So find a station that works for you. Get to the gym early enough so you can get those cards. If you have a friend that gets there consistently at a time earlier, then you'll be like, hey, can you grab me my card? Now, I don't know if that's against the rules, but I don't work Orangetheory, so get your card, find your station, be successful, don't be claustrophobic. Throwing it out there. So I hope this video is helpful for you, especially for those that are, hey, on the fluffier side, because I made this video specifically for people like us, okay? Don't let your size prevent you from making a choice or making a change that's gonna help you be successful. And you can really apply these tips to anywhere or any workouts that you're doing at any gym, but these are just specific to my experience at Orangetheory, okay? If you like content like this and you wanna see more in the future, go ahead and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Share it with a friend. Tell everybody how great the fat gay is. Hello. Okay. If you have suggestions of things that you would like to see in the future, leave it in the comment section below. I post videos on Mondays and Thursdays. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next week.